Hey, how's it going? So today's video, I'm going to show you how I go about framing the deck I just built. I kind of have a full overview video I've already put out. This is one of a multi-part video that will kind of go over more specifics. I kind of do a little bit more yapping in these ones than the other one, kind of just is more of an edit and kind of just shows the process. This is going to be me being way more in depth and discussing what I'm doing. So if you're interested in seeing that, stick around and check it out.
So before we can build back a new deck, obviously we got to take down the old one. So we're going to go ahead and demo all this. I'm going to try and be a little bit easy on it because I'm going to try and repurpose a lot of this stuff for a new deck at my house. This wood's only about 5 years old, but they want to extend it out further, and the framing wasn't exactly done correctly. So yeah, we decided we're just going to take it all down and start fresh. But like I said, they want a brand new deck, so we're going to take all this old lumber. I'm going to use it at my house and build myself a deck out of it later. So win-win. Okay, so we got the deck taken down. It's all down, just the footers left at this point. But we did run into a little bit of an issue. Not necessarily with anything that I'm going to be doing, but it's something that needs to be addressed before I can even finish, or before I can even start doing this deck. So let's take a look. So they have this concrete pad here, and there was some cracking forming in places. So they just went and had it all like scrubbed and had a new finish put on it, which looks really nice. But the reason why it was cracking, now that the deck is gone, I mean, you can still see this crack here, but you can see why it was cracking. Yeah, and they have this hot tub up on top of it here. So yeah, this is going to need to be addressed before I build something back here. I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do. We're gonna have some concrete guys come out and take a look and tell us what they think. And hopefully we can get this resolved fairly quickly so I can get back to working on the deck. So we got a company coming out to spray like an expansion foam type thing up underneath the foundation of the concrete pad. And yeah, so I had to come out here, I had to take down the fence and kind of dig up underneath there to make it like a more consistent void. Along the front there was just kind of like places that it was failing and places it really wasn't, so we just kind of, I just came through and dug it all out and cleared it out. Throughout that process I ended up breaking this piece of conduit here, which was already kind of failing. There was stuff building up inside of it anyway, so not a big deal, but just another thing. So yeah, we got this all pretty well cleaned out, prepped and ready. The guys should be out here before long. They'll come through and fill this all in. And at that point we can get back to building the deck. So whee! Okay, so back out here at the deck build. It's been about a week since I was here. We ended up getting kind of like a weird viral thing and getting sick for a little bit, so I had to take about a week off to get better. I still got a little phlegm in my chest here, so sorry if that comes across in the audio. But just to give you a little bit of an update, we got the guy to come out and do essentially like a spray foam, I guess is what it is, that goes up and under here. And he came through and kind of cleaned it up and cut it to where it's not going to mess with my board. Got the conduit all reconnected, and right now I'm establishing the elevation with this string line. Unfortunately there is a little bit of a fall in this, and they really want the deck to be flush with the pad there, so we're going to try and do the best we can with that to make sure it's flush. So we'll match this elevation all the way out. We have, basically there's going to be an 8-foot section here. It'll be broke up into sections because we're using 2x6 because it's so close to the ground here. The maximum span by code you can do a 2x6 is over 9 feet. It's like 9 foot something. So we're gonna stay well with under that, and we're gonna do an 8-foot section here. There'll be a girder, and that girder will cantilever. We'll have a cantilever with the joist about 2 feet coming back because we can't really get, you know, too close to that with how low the elevation is right there. It'll come out. We'll have the 8-foot section. The 8-foot section will end about in here roughly, and it'll start the stairs and then kind of L out to the extension part that kind of will match this pseudo retention wall right here. And it'll have probably about a 4-foot section out from there, and then there'll be another girder that catches it. So three girders in total, 1, 2, 3. This one will be flush to the edge of the deck, and then we'll skirt all the way around over to the stairs, and then this section through here will be skirted. So yeah, basically at this point, I'm going to pull some more string line out, try and establish where each one of the girders are going to be, plan where the holes are going to be for the footers, start digging down, get those footers put in, and then get the concrete put in. And yeah, we should be setting up concrete by the end of the day. That's kind of the goal here, so we're going to get into it. Whew. All right, it might have been a little ambitious to think I was going to get all the footers done today. Yeah, I ended up having to trench a little bit, like I was talking about. That definitely took a little bit more effort than I was expecting. And then, yeah, just digging through East Tennessee red clay is slow moving, especially when you do it by yourself. I'm used to working with a crew when I build decks, so doing this solo, I kind of underestimated the amount of time taken to do that. So we're going to be fine. Moving along, show you a little bit what I've been up to. So there's my trench. Got it all dug out just to make sure there was plenty of space to accommodate the girder, the joists, and the decking board, and still reach that height there. Got my footer holes dug with the rebar in it, running parallel and vertical. Took a little section of sonotube, just cut a little piece of it, just so I have something flat that I can level off to make the top of the footers. We will be doing post brackets. This will make it better if they ever have to redo the deck down the line. They can trust that the footers are reusable. All they have to do is undo the wood off the brackets and add new beams, build a new deck on top of it. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get all these poured. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so I think I'm just gonna establish this one first, get the girder on, run some joists out and temp them, and then work down, kind of do the opposite of what I'm doing here, and then build the next section after that. Got all these footers for the first girder poured. Got their anchor bolts put in. I'm hand mixing all the concrete. I do miss having access to a mixer. So yeah, takes a little longer, takes a little more energy. Okie dokie, we're out here again at the deck. I didn't film any the other day. It was like rainy and nasty and stuff, so there's gonna be like a little bit of a skip in what was done here, but I'll explain what we did that day still. I couldn't really get the camera out and film that day. It just was pretty nasty, and I was just doing a lot of figuring, so there wasn't really much to film anyway. So let me go ahead and bring you up to date and show you what I did to get to where I am currently. All right, so we got our first bit of the girder done. or the first girder done, I should say. There's going to be 2 more, 1, 2. This one took a little bit of figuring out because of there's no constant, being that it meets this concrete pad back here. It's really hard, and the concrete pad has a elevation change going that way. There's a slope away from the house, so, and there's actually even like a little bit of a dip in the middle of it, so there's nothing constant to start with here. So I kind of had to do a lot of figuring out to figure out how to do that, how high this needed to be and everything like that. I had a rough idea of, you know, the depth of each one of these piers and what they need to be to accommodate for the beam height. But so what I did basically was I took a joist, ran it this way with a decking board attached to it, so I knew the finish height, and kind of had to rough hang a joist on the edge, kind of like put some temp supports on it, and then measure down from that to see exactly where this needed to be as far as height goes. And then even still, after we did that and we cut the 6x6, even after we did that and we cut the 6x6 to go underneath the footer, or on top of the footer there, we ended up kind of needing to adjust it once or twice just so it was right. You know, the math is variant. So then, yeah, now we've got this whole thing established here. There's a little bit of a dip in that third beam, or that third footer from here, just because I wanted to save some material and reuse some of the 2x6s from the old deck. So I was like, oh, cut these into 3 sections, and I've never really done that before. Usually I run, you know, almost a solid beam for something like this. Ended up with a little bit of a sag right there, so I'll have to come back and lift that up and fix it. But other than that, it turned out pretty good. So yeah, now we have a constant to start with. What we're going to do at this point is we'll take 2 boards, or 4 boards, and establish a rim board that goes up against the concrete pad, and then we'll run a couple more joists out, temp hang those out to here, just so we can know exactly where this girder is going to need to land. We'll run a string line from one joist to the other and then level down, and that'll tell us where each one of our holes are going to be, and then do the same again on the final girder out to there. So yeah, that's basically the plan for today. A lot more digging, a lot more mixing. We're gonna get a concrete mixer instead of mixing it all in the wheelbarrow with the shovel today, so that'll make it go a little bit quicker. And yeah, we'll get these concrete footers put in the ground, and hopefully after that and that sets up, we'll throw these other beams on and it'll go a lot quicker at that point. This is always the most time-consuming part, especially when you're not building up to a house or something that's constant. You kind of have to make a constant, so it takes a little bit of figuring out and a little bit of time, but we're getting there. So let's get after it today. So there's our back rim board, kind of like the cap board that will catch all the joists. All right, so we got 2 joists running out from there now, attached to the rim board. That's going to establish where our next girder is going to go. So we'll run a string line from here over to there, and then plumb bob down, and then probably try and do the same thing out again, figure out where this one's gonna go, and then just get to digging. All right, another day done here. That was a long day of digging and mixing, but we got all the footers put in, all the concrete setting up right now with all the bolts in there to mount the plates for the feet. So yeah, let's check it out, see what we're at here. Not much more to see, just some concrete circles in the ground, but they're all ready for legs once that concrete sets up. And then yeah, we'll run the next girders. We'll have a girder there, stairs coming down right here. And yeah, that's the one thing I really like about doing girder systems, is once you get those girders established, that's like the hardest part, and then after that you're just throwing joists down. It's going to go really quick. So we'll be back here tomorrow. Hopefully those set up in time. I'm sure they will. And yeah, we'll get them mounted up, get some legs put on them, and start throwing joists at it. All right, our concrete set up, all dry at this point. So we put our post brackets on. We've run a string line right here to establish the bottom of this all the way across, and then we're going to measure down from this down to our post space, and that'll give us, like for example here, we've got 14 inches from here to here. We know that we have to put a 2x6 triple girder, and then a 6x6 will be the remainder of the space. You measure your width of your 2x6, which is 5 9/16 roughly on the ones that we're using right now, and then you subtract that from the 14 inches, and that remainder is what your 6x6 is going to be. So we'll do that throughout here. It's pretty close most of the time. We may have to trim a little bit off here and there to make it 100% right, but more than likely that's going to be exactly what it needs to be. Shove it to me. Yeah. Okay. This way more. A little bit low. Right. Should we get about there? I think. All right. All right, we got all 3 girders up now. All the 6x6 cut and attached mostly. Still have to button up a couple of the brackets, but all the hard parts are done. Shouldn't say all the hard parts, but the grunt work is mostly done. So yeah, now we'll start chucking some joists down, and it'll be ready for decking before we know it. So we got another day down out here on the deck build. I tried to do an update, I think it was a couple days ago now. We ended up not working yesterday because we were waiting on a delivery and everything, but 2 days ago I tried to start some filming, and it was so cold it kept killing the battery on the GoPro. So yeah, here's a little bit of an update of what we've been doing here. So we got all the joists laid out, got all the picture framing done, because there'll be a picture frame board that comes around and kind of outlines the decking boards. We've got our first 2 bays blocked out to make that adequate to hold the handrail system that's going to go on there. We got all the blocking done. So you got a block between each one of your joists on top of the girder to keep the boards from twisting and to keep those in place. We're running these guys long till we get closer with the decking, so then when we cut them off, it'll end on a full decking board. That's a nice thing about doing the girder systems too. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. There's a couple little variants here and there, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. Got the little kick out over here to close that in. We ended up doubling these 2x6s out here, mostly just for nailers, so that there'd be a straight line in the screws. So these are overly done now too, but we had the leftover lumber from the old deck, which was only a couple years old, so that wood was still well within being used. But yeah, it's time to get to doing some decking. We got to do some planing over here. This concrete pad, I don't remember if I mentioned earlier in the video, has a slump into it where it's settled over time. So there's an inconsistent line along through here. So I think I'm going to get a power planer and kind of plane out some of the joists, that band board back there, to try and accommodate that, so we have at least close to even reveal all the way along. Don't want it to be a trip hazard, so we're going to try and do the best we can. It is flush here. It's pretty much flush over there. It's up a little bit, but right there in the middle, it's got quite a sag to it, so we're going to try and accommodate for that the best we can. But overall, looking pretty good. Nico wants to contribute to the video. What, dog? Now he's got nothing to say. But yeah.
Thank you for hanging out to this part of the video. I know there was quite a bit of talking in that one, so if you found that interesting, please be sure to put a like. Comment would be appreciated too. If you're interested in seeing more, I am doing a couple more continuations on this video. I'm going to do one on the process of decking and doing the handrails, and I will be doing one on how I do the stairs specifically. I think the stairs one will come next. There'll be a whole video just on stairs because I have a lot to say about that. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, be sure to subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.